A legend which is one of the more complex and terrifying stories steeped in mystery and evil. Many Navajos believe firmly in the existence of them and refuse to discuss them publicly for fear of retribution. They believe them to walk freely among the tribe and secretly transform under the cover of night. Their native name is a term that literally translates to "with it he goes on all fours." Today we will be discussing the Navajo legend of the Skinwalkers and a hotbed of paranormal activity that has come to be known as Skinwalker Ranch. But before we get into the video, I have launched a Patreon for the channel, so if you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by pledging today, and it will certainly be most appreciated. According to Navajo legend, a skinwalker is a medicine man or witch who has attained the highest level of priesthood in the tribe, but he chose to use his or her power for evil by taking the form of an animal to inflict pain and suffering on others. To become a skinwalker requires the most evil of deeds, the killing of a close family member. They literally become humans who have acquired immense supernatural power, including the ability to transform into animals and other people. These evil witches are typically seen in the form of a coyote, owl, fox, wolf, or crow, although they do have the ability to turn into any animal they choose. Because it is believed that skinwalkers wear the skins of animals they transform into, it's considered taboo to wear the pelt of any animal. In fact, the Navajo are only known to wear two kinds of hides, sheepskin and buckskin, both of which were only used for ceremonial purposes. Those who have talked of their encounters with these evil beings describe a number of ways in which a skinwalker will try to inflict harm. Some describe hearing knocks on the window or banging on the walls. Others have spotted an animal-like figure peering in through a window or stalking them from afar, plotting their doom. According to Navajo skinwalker legend, they are seldom caught. Those who do track a skinwalker and learn their true identity must pronounce the name of the evil one in full. Once this happens, the skinwalker will get sick or die for the wrongs they have inflicted against others. While this lore has been largely relegated to hoax status, after all, it's hard to believe a humanoid is transforming into a four-legged creature and terrorizing people. The rest of America was introduced to the legend in 1996, when the Deseret News published an article titled "Frequent Flyers." The story chronicled a Utah family's traumatizing experiences with the supposed creature, including cattle mutilations, disappearances, UFO sightings, and the appearance of crop circles. The Sherman Ranch property where these events took place would later become known by a different name synonymous with the old Native American legend. It would become known as Skinwalker Ranch. Terry and Gwen Sherman were just your average Utah cattle ranch family, except that they had their ranch plagued by strange events, some terrifying, and many causing financial losses to their cattle business. Their livestock would be repeatedly mutilated, as though dissected with machinery in an advanced laboratory, the cuts cauterized as though made with lasers. Others would simply vanish altogether. In one instance, a cow went missing and hoof marks were found leading up the side of the barn and beyond to the top of the barn, as if the animal had walked or had been dragged from the ground up through the air against the side of the barn itself. These beings, as they would come to be known, would also play tricks on the Shermans often, misplacing items, locking doors, and besides abducting livestock, they would also move them around the ranch, usually at such a high rate of speed that it would be impossible for the animal to have moved naturally, such as when cows would seemingly teleport from the field and to the top of the barn, among other things, within a few seconds. Finally, in 1998, the Shermans had had enough of the ranch and put it up for sale. Millionaire philanthropist Robert Bigelow, also the chairperson and founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science, or NIDS, had for years been communicating with the Shermans in an effort to understand the events unfolding at the Sherman Ranch. When the property was put up for sale, he quickly stepped in and purchased it. A team of researchers, surveillance equipment, and scientific instruments were moved in, making the old Sherman Ranch a seat for French science discovery. The ranch was then unofficially renamed Skinwalker Ranch, in respect to Native Americans that had been witnessing and studying these creatures for centuries, creatures that came by all descriptions, but that they called skinwalkers. The National Institute for Discovery, although entirely focused on the study of French science, is far from unscientific. Many reputable PhDs and ex-military or NASA personnel are amongst the organization's researchers and consultants. I say this because everything in this video from here on out is going to be very unbelievable. There is a very specific but unassuming spot on Skinwalker Ranch where some uniquely terrifying things have happened. In this spot, a researcher was threatened by a creature that he stated blended in with the scenery, rendering it almost invisible. Curiously, the creature neither hid nor attacked the researcher. It just stood there, roaring and threatening him. In that same exact spot, an entire team of researchers witnessed a glowing door or portal open in an empty space before them. A large humanoid creature crawled out from the portal, spotted the researchers, and quickly vanished back through the portal before it closed. In another incident, on that same spot, a PhD physicist was suddenly held motionless by an invisible force. In his accounts of the episode, he reported that a malicious and powerful entity, or entities, had literally invaded his mind and communicated with him a single message, that he and others of his species were not welcome. While this spot on Skinwalker Ranch may be the epicenter of these events, they are not all confined to the ranch itself. Junior Hicks, a retired school teacher from the area, has been attempting to catalog the strange events from the surrounding farms. He's cataloged over 400 incidents of UFOs, strange cigar-shaped crafts hovering at low altitude, and zigzagging balls of light. Hicks estimates that at least 50,000 residents of the region have witnessed one phenomena or another. Many of these witnesses are law enforcement personnel overseeing the community. The UFO activity really started getting intense in the early 50s, said Hicks. There were cases where the whole school and all the teachers saw these things hovering around the town in broad daylight. And in the 60s and 70s, we probably had more UFO sightings than any other place in the world. Perhaps the strangest phenomena from Skinwalker Ranch and the surrounding farms are the strange animals that are often seen wandering as if though lost. Descriptions of these creatures include a wolf-like creature that walks upright, a large and possibly hairy man or bear that also walks upright, and a flying creature the size of a football that would be a butterfly, except that its body and wings are entirely reptilian. It's easy to argue that there should be hundreds of photographs of these thousands of incidents, and to some degree there are, but the majority of these sightings were taking place in the 50s to 70s, back when having a camera in your phone, or having a mobile phone at all, was science fiction. Leading into the 1980s, the phenomena grew rarer to the point that in 2004, Robert Bigelow closed down the National Institute for Discovery Science, stating a lack of fringe occurrences to study. During the time of the Skinwalker Ranch studies, the NIDS had a prevailing theory which stated that all of the occurrences were the act of a single precognitive intelligence. The leading researcher at the time explained, "It isn't as simple as saying the ETs or flying saucers are doing it. It's some kind of consciousness, but it's always something new and different, something non-repeatable. It's reactive to people and equipment, but we have set up the ranch to be a proving ground for the scientific method. But science doesn't seem to be able to provide the solution to these kinds of problems." This was unfortunately the leading and best theory, and as the explanation stated the phenomena as far too unique from the previous or the following phenomena to be routinely evaluated. Without Bigelow being able to scientifically credit the site due to the phenomena being too irregular to study, he sold the ranch to a company called Adamantium Holdings for $4.5 million in 2016. Nevertheless, the research on Skinwalker Ranch is more sophisticated and secretive than ever. Since taking over Skinwalker Ranch, Adamantium has installed equipment all over the property, including cameras, alarm systems, infrared, and more. The property is also routinely patrolled by armed guards, so definitely don't get any ideas about going there. There are many stories about skinwalkers that continue to this day. These experiences commonly occur on Native American reservations and are allegedly only prevented by the blessings of a medicine man. So that finally leads us to the question, are skinwalkers real or just superstitious myth? I for one always believe anything is possible, and given the strange collection of both folklore and personal experiences, especially those documented at Skinwalker Ranch, it seems like this legend in particular that there might be more than meets the eye. But what do you think? With Skinwalker Ranch being such a vast subject, I know I've barely scratched the surface on the stories that have come out of that place, especially those from the Sherman family. So with that being said, if you'd be interested in hearing some more stories about the events that took place there at Skinwalker Ranch, please make sure to let me know, and also make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe with the bell so that you never miss a new upload. As mentioned in the beginning, I have launched a Patreon for the channel, and if you'd like to support the channel, please consider joining. Otherwise, there is a donation link in the description for PayPal as well. And if you can't afford to donate directly, which is absolutely understandable, please consider sharing this video with a friend. It certainly helps more than you guys know, and I truly appreciate all the support. This has been Cody here at Mystery Archives, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day.